Hi everyone, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. Please sit down if you're stood up. This is going to be a tremendous shock to you. But Ms. Marvel didn't do so well in the viewing figures. In actual fact, it did horrendously in the viewing figures. So shocked. Let's just have a look at this article to start with. Ms. Marvel viewership dramatically lower than Disney Plus Marvel than other Disney Plus Marvel series. Ms. Marvel released its first episode on Disney Plus on June 8th. Already the new Marvel series is failing to bring in the expected viewership. Now, I'm not throwing shade on the article, but I have an immediate question, which is, what do you think is the expected viewership? Is it because it's a Marvel show and that's the only reason why it should get good viewership? Or is it because it's a Ms. Marvel show and therefore you expect it to have better viewership? Newsflash, nobody knows who this character is from a normie perspective. No one. People who purchase comics, if they still purchase comics because they're a dying breed, barely they know who this character is. What is known of this character is that it's a derivative character, Kel Surprise, tokenized Kel Surprise, and is essentially a Sam Ammonot self-insert to the Marvel Universe that, of course, gets pushed, because if this gets pushed and if this gets TV, etc., guess who gets paid? Because it always boils down to the money. But as regards to its star power in the actual world itself, nobody knows who Ms. Marvel is. You would be forgiven for thinking that they have a popularity based off the propaganda which the comic industry puts out, based off the propaganda which shill sites like Bleeding Cool, not Bleeding Fool, Bleeding Cool, put out. But the simple fact of the matter is, this is a character whose book has been cancelled time and time and time again. What a surprise. All part of this Marvel drive back in the late teens, 20 teens, that just brought out miserable character after miserable character, which we, of course, have started to see pushed into the MCU with Ironheart and America Chavez and, you know, Ms. Marvel. And it's amazing to even think that Marvel shot down the Squirrel Girl show based off the fact that, you know, it's just simply a whammons. But even that proved to be too ridiculous for Marvel. So expected viewership, what exactly do you expect from people who don't know who the character is? So you are essentially saying reduced viewership because the Marvel brand should have pushed it higher. Sorry, it doesn't quite work like that way. According to Samba TV's tweet, Ms. Marvel brought in only 775,000 views in the series' first 5 days. Let's have a look at this tweet from Samba TV. Nice logo. It'll vanish in approximately 11 days' time. 775,000 US households watched the premiere of Ms. Marvel. While less than other MCU series, it was a hit with Gen Z. I'm going to address that in a moment. Viewers aged 20 to 24 watched it at a higher rate of any MCU show, and it drew a more diverse audience with Black, Hispanic, and Asian households watching at a higher rate. Now, that sounds as if it's more, as the buzzword they love to use is inclusive. But let's have a look at some proper figures, shall we? These are the other TV shows. Loki did 2.5 million. Moon Knight, 1.8. Falcon and his pussy, 1.8. WandaVision 1.6, and even Hawkeye 1.5. So Ms. Marvel did half the number, bar a few thousand, did half the number of the lowest Marvel TV show to date. So let's just go back up to the virtue signaling here. Viewers aged 20 to 24 watched it at a higher rate. Drew more a diverse audience with Black, Hispanic, and Asian households, etc. Okay. You take half an audience away from the lowest rated TV show, you're not left with a whole lot to play with, really. So you've lost a white audience, black audience, brown audience. You've lost an audience across the whole board. So what they're essentially saying is the little number that we had left had a higher rate of this demographic or that demographic. But that's simply due to reduced numbers. And even so, it says a higher rate with Black, Hispanic, Asian households. That could still be lower than Hawkeye, which was the lowest viewed at 1.5 million. It's amazing how you can play around with these sort of virtue signaling demographics when you're dealing with a fraction of the number that you are when you're dealing with Loki, for example, or Falcon and Bitch, or whatever it may be, Moon Knight. Nice try. But the weird thing, of course, is how can it be failing? How can people not be tuned in? It's got a 95% rating with critics. And here we go, we've got a couple of critics here. An unadulterated bundle of enthusiasm, optimism, and charm without being twee. Exactly the combination you need if superhero fatigue has settled in. Okay. With solid characters, really? Solid characters? They didn't develop any characters in the first episode. And developing a distinct point of view with a lead actress who is surely going to be a big star, you will find a lot to keep you entertained, even if it doesn't raise the bar compared to some other Marvel Studio projects. 7 out of 10. Yeah, it's not exactly setting the world alight with these people here. And this audience score, it's 83%, with over 4,000 audience members putting in their bit. So how can it be failing? Well, you know, it's fun. Visually, the show uses a lot of fun and colorful effects to get across the scene mood and characters' feelings. No, there was a lot of, I would say, interesting direction to get you away from a boring script and bland characters who were stereotypical. This one is a bit weird. The show is very well done for what it sets out to do. What does it set out to do, Stephen? It's vibrant, creative, and very charming, with great performances, especially the lead. The writing is solid. The great production value and clever editing choices. I can't help but think all of these 1-star and half-star reviews are not coming from a place of genuine thoughtful. Why are you complaining about 1-star and half-star reviews when it's got an 83% audience score? I mean, I'm not saying that Rotten Tomatoes has botted any of their scores or any of these scores, but you know, Rotten Tomatoes botted a lot of these scores. This is one of the most inaccurate sites that you could possibly get to. But one of the reasons why we love to refer to it is because every time that the audience tries to legitimately have their say, they normally come in and nix the audience, start resetting figures, resetting numbers. So this is so popular. Remember when it came out last week, and within like 6 or 8 hours of it being out, Marvel puts out this tweet saying Ms. Marvel is the highest rated Marvel TV show that there's been. you know, it's not to say that there was a consensus with critics to make it that way so they could get that soundbite, even though the show was half the viewership of the lowest current Marvel TV show. Now, last Thursday, after episode 2 had come out, or last Wednesday, I should really say, when episode 2 came out, Drinker and I did the first episode. There's nothing to get angry about the show or to really rant and rave about the show. The show was just boring as hell. The writing was piss poor. The characterization wasn't there. The family was stereotypical. There was nothing to get really excited about. There were some nice touches with the direction, you know, which made it interesting, which distracted you from the boredom. Scenes went on way too long. Characters just popped in and went out and you knew nothing about them whatsoever. Anyway, that's by the by. So I text Drinker last Wednesday, just gone. And I say to him, so are we going to do episode 2? And he's down in London at the time. So he says, well, I'm down in London, so I can't do anything for a couple of days. But I'll tell you what, Friday afternoon, we'll do a watch through together. So I said, okay. So Friday afternoon comes around. I don't contact Drinker. Drinker don't contact me. None of us are interested. None of us are interested or invested even to bother to do that because the show was so goddamn bland. The character's not interesting. The way that she got her powers isn't interesting. The family isn't interesting. The friends aren't interesting. And it didn't set anything up in the first episode going forward. This wasn't an interesting show. So much so, couldn't be bothered. Apathy with this one. It does not surprise me in the least that this is a massive flop. Because who the fuck knows or cares about Ms. Marvel? No one. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.